Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. In a previous video, I spoke about our favorite parenting book, The Me, Me, Me Epidemic. If you haven't watched that video, I'll put the link above so that you can catch up on it. But today I wanted to talk about family meetings, something that we started about 3 years ago and has been really instrumental in our parenting journey. And I want to share with you how we do our family meetings and the benefits of them. So 3 years ago, when we found the Me, Me, Me Epidemic book and I was reading it, she talks a lot about family meetings. And when I first read it, I was thinking, yeah, I remember having some family meetings, not consistently, but some growing up, but still not really thinking about the benefit of it until I started reading her book further and realizing that family meetings are not only a great routine to add to your family, but it's a great safe place to create memories and communication in a family. And the great thing about family meetings is they don't have to take hours. They can be short and sweet depending on your children's age, and they evolve. And there's no one size fits all. So you can develop it any way you want. It might be sitting in the living room around a bowl of ice cream, or it might be at the breakfast table or the dinner table. Certainly over the years, actually over the last 3 years that we've been doing family meetings, ours have certainly evolved. But I want to share with you a little bit more about how they've evolved and what we've been doing, because I think they are such a great addition. And I don't know about you, but for us, I do find that as my children are getting older, they're 9 and 11, we are busier and busier with sports and school activities, and sometimes those communication points are just hard to fit in. So making time in our schedule to have a quick family meeting is such a great way for us to just kind of tap in and check in on each other and address any issues that are happening in the family, and also allows our children a safe place where they can address issues that are important to them. So when we first started doing our family meetings, our children were much younger, so they really only lasted about 15 minutes. And at that time, we basically would sit around the kitchen table, we would talk about the week, my husband was the note taker at the time, we would talk about our schedule for the week so that they knew what was coming up. If we had practices, if we had any events coming up, we would go over the schedule. We would talk about our chore charts and what was getting done and what wasn't, and asking them those questions of how they felt about their chores or what was happening. Did they have anything that they wanted to talk about? And we kept it pretty brief because really their attention span was probably only about 10 minutes. And then as they've aged, it's evolved. So now that they're 9 and 11, our family meetings go a little bit longer. They're usually about 25 to 30 minutes long. And we're really focusing on multiple areas. We're focusing on note-taking, personal finance, persuasion, and just really how to vote on subjects. And what I mean by that is right now my son is on a campaign to convince us that we should give him more electronic time. So his job is to spend the week really researching his points of view. And then he brings it to our family meeting and we vote on it and we talk about it after he's done his presentation. So we're really teaching them that they have a voice. It doesn't mean they'll always get what they want, but it's a safe place that they can basically bring things to the table. So currently the way our family meetings look is like this. We have a very simple system, and I want to share this with you because it doesn't have to be elaborate. We were meeting usually Saturday or Sunday afternoons, and that has been very difficult to do with busy schedules. So we've actually changed it up, and we do it over breakfast once a week. So it's kind of a nice change up. And that's the nice thing about family meetings is that if it's not working, just change it. So we do it over breakfast. We have our family meeting binder. And originally my husband was taking notes in it, but now that my kids are older, we have 2 jobs in our family meetings and they take turns. And so one is the note taker, and literally we hand them the binder and we have paper in it, nothing fancy, and they just take notes. Just kind of bullet pointing the main topics that are being brought up. So that's the first job. And so we started out just talking about our schedule for the week. What are appointments that are coming up? What events are coming up? That kind of stuff, so that they know. And often now that they're older, as we homeschool, my children have calendars during their homeschool week, so they'll bring their own calendars to the table and fill their calendars out. That way during the week, they can also check back on it, but the note taker is also putting it in our notebook for reference. So that's the first thing that we do, is just note-taking and talking about calendars. Then the second thing is we usually go over our chore charts and just talk about, what's getting done and what's not. Do we need to change anything? Again, the note taker is writing all this down. And then from there, we give the kids opportunities to bring anything to the table that they want to. So it's a great opportunity. Like I said, my son is still working on getting more electronic time. So they'll bring their information to the table and we'll vote on anything we need to vote on. Then the third thing that we do, and this is the second job, is we are working on personal finance. And I will actually have a video coming up for you about how we teach personal finance with our children. But for today's purposes, I just want to do a brief coverage of personal finance. And referencing back to the Mimi epidemic, I really love her philosophy on the fact that allowance should not be tied to chores. And so what we do with our children is they do have a chore chart, and they are required to do certain chores just to be part of the family, because we all have to chip in to make this house run. But my children do get allowance, and right now they're getting $5 a week, and we use that money to teach them about managing money. And so that money is actually used for them to determine what they're going to put in savings and what they're going to put in their checking account and what they're going to kind of keep in their wallets for those miscellaneous things that they want to buy at the store. So during the personal finance, the person that has that job is the banker, and we have our banking box, and this is where we keep our banking cash. And that person is the one that will divvy up the 5 $1 bills to each person. And then from there, the children have to decide how much they want to put in savings. And their savings is essentially their emergency fund. It's not something that they pull money out of for just, random purchases, and how much they want to just put in their checking. And so the personal finance, or the banker, their job is to divvy those up and, count and make sure that our ATM is basically accurate. And then finally, once they have received their allowance, and I'm going to share this with you in my next video, but they get their checkbook ledger, and the banker will also be in charge of making sure that these all balance out. But each child has their own ledger, and they are able to write in how much they're putting in their emergency fund and how much they are saving, and this is how they manage their money. So we do spend some time in our family meeting really talking about purchases and how they're spending their money. And it's just been a really great environment for us to do that. And I think our kids are really understanding the concept of money more and more. Part of the reason we decided to do these family meetings and to kind of bring it to the table is, and I'm sure some of you can identify with this, our children a lot of times I don't think understand where money comes from and how it's earned, and that you can't just have something because you want it. Sometimes you have to save for things. Or often we're so busy we don't have time to come together and really talk about important subjects for them and even for us. So it's just a great check-in point. So that's kind of how our family meetings go. And then after we do all of our personal finance stuff and they get their money, sometimes we'll play games. Sometimes the kids are just done, and and that's okay. And then we also try to do monthly drawings. And so we have a jar at the table. They just enter their name in, and once a month we do a drawing, and usually there's some kind of an activity or something special for the person that gets drawn. So we try to make it fun, but also just kind of teaching them those skills that they might need. Okay, so there you have it. That is how we structure our family meetings. I'm really excited to see how they evolve over the years. I'm sure that they will definitely change as my children turn into teenagers. But if you are currently doing family meetings, I'd love to hear how you do them and what you focus on in your meetings. And as always, I would love it if you'd subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and follow me in my unconventional parenting journey. I will continue to share with you videos of tips and tricks that we have found along the way.